Greetings. Father John here with our Director of Evangelization, Pedro Silva.
That's me.
That's him. And I've got some questions to ask him about where we're going with accompaniment and formation and what have you, So I'm sure you're interested too. But let me start off with this way. When I first came to Baltimore, 20 some years ago, it quickly came to my attention.
That was 13, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
That's crazy.
Oh? Well, anyways, I quickly found out they never ask a Baltimorean what college they went to. You always ask them what parish they came from and what high school, which was associated with their area. You see, they had what sociologists call the sacred canopy. Okay, you're born into not only a family, but you're born into a community, a church community, right?
Yeah.
And you go to school there, you go to math there, you meet your future spouse there, you get married there, all your sacraments, and then you might even get a job and work in the area. And then finally, when you pass on, they bury you there. That's the sacred, from cradle to grave.
That sounds nice.
And that's gone. It really is.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So that's one of our challenges here now that with being so isolated and how do we deal with that? How do we work with the new reality, so to speak, with regard to formation and trying to get families involved and stuff?
I think one of the most profound teachings that I received from my mentor, Dr. Reborn, he always used to say, we're born into a relationship for a relationship. And this is just, he's talking about metaphysics, the understanding that we participate in being, and by that participation we are. But through the life of grace, we're not just born to participate in a natural sort of rhythm, but we're elevated through grace, through the supernatural life, especially the baptism. Mm-hmm. We're incorporated into the body of Christ. We're incorporated into his sonship as a beloved son. So whenever we hear the words, when he's being baptized by John the Baptist in Jordan, this is my beloved son, you should also hear those words being echoed towards yourself.
Okay.
That's your identity. I think if you start there, that's a good place of departure.
Right.
That I am precious and chosen from the beginning to be his.
Well, that gets into what's really impressed me for last year is that, Christianity is a family affair.
Exactly.
It
is.
Yeah. So how are we going to go forward with our formation with that in mind?
I think one of the first things we have to do is ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? I think part of losing the sacred canopy, we lose safety. And so we become very fearful of relationships because we're so transient that it's hard for us to build roots, and therefore it's hard for us to build trust.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's a good place to just ask the question, like, what am I afraid of? What is what kind of fears are holding me back? And to enter into a relationship with the people in my church community, with my church family. I think that would be the first step.
How would we address the fears of the family? We want to get the family back involved in the formation with our kids, right? And probably, my guess is one of the fears, families say, well, man, I don't know how to do this. That's what the church's job is, formation. How are we going to start, impressing this upon our families?
I think, first of all, and you as a husband and father, you probably dealt with this a lot. I am inadequate to do this. Something I'm about to get married in 2 weeks, and I'm like, I am inadequate for this. I just can't do this. What the church is calling me to is too much.
Yeah, right.
But if we remember what Jesus says, he qualifies the called. He called us to be a husband, a wife, a mother, a father. And I think if we just accept in humility that inadequacy is just part of life. It's part of we can't be saints without God's grace.
Right. Okay.
And so the next thing would be, I am inadequate, but God's love is sufficient. And in my weakness, he is strong in me. So constantly being open to that, and then being able to recognize, and something that I've been really focusing on. I realized, like, through youth ministry, through my time in parishes, we have this need to be. So if I don't accept my weakness, my inadequacy, then I'm going to be a tyrant and dominator. I need to control at all times, and so I don't allow people into my family because I'm fearful of what they might bring or influences, or that I'm not enough for my wife, and she'll leave, or I'm not enough for my kids, and they're not going to love me. And I'm like, no, I need to surround myself with good men and good holy women that are going to be my brothers and sisters, and they're going to be spiritual aunts and uncles, spiritual friends to my wife and to my kids.
Okay, so it takes a fair bit of humility to
And
overcome these fears. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Now, you chose a program called Ablaze.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to get into more of this next week. Okay, but just maybe by introduction, how does Ablaze help us to integrate the family back into the formation of their children?
I think, first of all, their approach is simple. They're going to, one of the fears of parents is, I'm not adequate to teach my kids the faith, or I'm fearful that I won't know the answer.
Right.
And I think Ablaze is just saying, like, we know. Even we, as, like, we've studied. We still haven't really penetrated.
I get stumped all the time.
All the time. And we're constantly learning from each other as well. And so what they do is they're to give you a simple, clear way on how to first build trust between you, the church, and the Lord. Because you need that encounter with the Lord, where He looks at you and calls you by name.
Right.
Because what does that do? That calling by name gives you confidence. You no longer feel that inadequacy.
Yeah.
And so then no longer feel that inadequacy. Now you start building that trust with the Lord and with the community. Secondly, you are going to start giving that to other people. You're going to start creating your own home is going to be a place of encounter of opportunity. The church here is going to be a place of encounter of opportunity where you're going to desire to participate. And simply is, Ablaze is going to help me, you, the parish, identify the primary mode through which we come to know. We come to encounter. Either through truth, beauty, or goodness.
Right.
Mine is beauty. I love beauty. And so beautiful things attract me. And so what first drew me to the faith is the beauty of the love that is expressed through the crucifix.
Wow.
How can God do that for me? And I found that to be extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I find beauty in my main mode. And even my time in seminary, one of the things I always said was, I want to make sure that the way that I speak incorporates truth, beauty, and goodness. Because oftentimes I see different preachers and different evangelists sort of just speak truth, or just speak beautifully, or just speak goodness. And that doesn't appeal to everybody. And so we need to be able to not only identify our own primary mode, because that's good self-knowledge. And if I'm encountering somebody that's their primary mode is truth, well, my language needs to be stripped of the superfluousness that the truth person might encounter. Is like, oh, you speak beautifully, but it's kind of hard for me to sift through what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
Because it needs to follow logic.
That's right.
And so communication is one of the primary ways that we build trust.
So Blaze help us find our communication language, so to speak, right? Whether it's goodness, beauty, or truth. Well, good. Well, Pedro, next week, you're going to do the letter this week, and then you're going to do a part 2 letter next week, which kind of tells us how this kind of practically works out, okay? So stay tuned. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Father.
I'm excited about this, and God bless you.